For 1,000 years, there was peace in the galaxy. The Galactic Union, made of many alien races, had worked hard to avoid war. The most dangerous species, humans, had stayed quiet. They lived on their planet Earth and did not interfere. In galactic politics, some said humans had become soft. Others believed they had lost their will to fight. But deep in the shadows of space, one race grew restless. The Zarkans, proud and powerful, had waited for their chance. They believed it was time for the galaxy to belong to them. Their leaders said the humans were weak. They had not fought in centuries. Their war machines were gone. Their armies forgotten. Zarkon Prime, the homeworld, was filled with excitement. They will not resist, said Commander Zeltor. Earth will fall in one day. They hide behind peace, another general added. They are scared. The Zarkan High Council sent one message to Earth. The truce is broken. You have 48 hours to surrender or face destruction. The message was clear. There was no escape. Galaxy held its breath. Every species watched Earth. Would the humans panic? Would they beg for mercy? Would they run? But the response from Earth was strange. A human man appeared on the official galactic network. He stood in a simple room, wearing no armor, showing no fear. He smiled. It was a calm, confident smile. Then he spoke. We accept your message. And we smile not because we are weak, but because we were waiting. The transmission ended. No threats, no anger, just that smile. Across the galaxy, people were confused. Some laughed. Others felt something colder. Fear. On Zarkon Prime, the generals stared at the screen. What is this? Asked Commander Zeltor. Are they mocking us? Maybe, said one officer, frowning. Or maybe they're hiding something. In the outer edge of the Sol system, near Pluto, Zarkon scout ships arrived. Their mission was to observe Earth's defenses. There is nothing here, the scout leader said. No ships, no satellites, just an empty system. But that was a mistake. One by one, the scout ships disappeared. No explosions, no signals. And then darkness, back on Earth. President Ilara stood in the hidden command room deep under the surface. Her advisors looked tense, but she remained calm. They've made the first move, said General Knox. Do we activate Code Black? She nodded slowly. Yes, it's time. The order went out. Deep under Earth's oceans. Giant machines woke up. On the moon, secret weapons systems powered on. Across the solar system, invisible ships turned toward the enemy. Earth had never been silent. It had been preparing. On a distant moon near Saturn, a human outpost received a warning. Zarkon ships were approaching fast. Evacuate? Asked the base commander. No, said the AI system. Activate Protocol 7. The humans boarded escape pods and launched. Minutes later, the base exploded in a massive blast, destroying the entire Zarkon squad. The galaxy saw it. Everyone did. The human base was gone but not defeated. The message sent afterward shocked everyone. You fired first. We remember. In a secret lab on Mars, scientists watched the reaction of the Galactic Union. They don't understand, one whispered. They thought we disappeared. We just stopped talking, said another. The Zarkans now faced something they didn't expect. Silence from Earth, but not fear, and more strange things began to happen. Alien traders in neutral space reported seeing fast ships that didn't show up on sensors. Ships with human markings. A cargo convoy near Alpha Centauri vanished. It was later found floating in space, untouched, with a simple message burned into the metal. This is your only warning. Back on Zarkon Prime, fear was spreading. They smile at us, said one elder. They smile like predators. Zeltor grew angry. We will crush them. Tomorrow we send the full fleet. No, said a voice behind him. It was Elder Varn, the oldest and wisest, Zarkon. He had once visited Earth long ago during the early days of the Truce. You don't understand humans, he said. They are different. They wait. They adapt. They don't bark like others. They just watch. And when they move, they do not stop. We are stronger, Zeltar shouted. You think strength is loud, said Varn, but the strongest blade is silent and it cuts 48 hours past. The Zarkon fleet entered Earth's orbit. Tens of thousands of ships and Earth remained quiet. Then something happened. A small satellite near the fleet, powered on, played a single video. It showed ancient human warriors, world wars, nuclear bombs, space battles. Then it showed recent footage-hidden tech, ships cloaked in light, weapons firing beams no Zarkon had ever seen. And then, the smile. The same human smile. Just before the video ended, it displayed one final message. We are not afraid of war. We are what war becomes. Suddenly, hundreds of human ships decloaked behind the Zarkon fleet. No warnings, just precise. Deadly action Zarkon ships began exploding. One by one, they tried to retreat, but human ships blocked every path. It was not a war, it was a lesson. The Galactic Union watched in silence. The battle ended in 23 minutes. Of the 10,000 Zarkon ships, less than 100 escaped. Back on Earth, President Alara made a final statement to the galaxy. She spoke calmly, with the same smile. We honored the truce. We gave peace. But never mistake peace for weakness. To those who try to hurt us, we will not shout. We will not beg. We will simply end it, had become its masters. And the smile, that strange, quiet smile, it wasn't joy. It was a warning. The galaxy was still in shock. The Zarkon fleet, once believed to be unbeatable, had been destroyed in minutes. No one had expected Earth to fight back at least not like that. The human smile, broadcast across the galaxy, was now feared. It wasn't the smile of peace, it was the smile of something old, something dangerous. But deep inside Earth, under ice and oceans, there was something even more terrifying. A secret program. A forgotten human code in a secret underground base. Below Antarctica, President Alara walked through a long metal corridor with General Knox beside her. The walls were covered in thick steel, and large red lights pulsed slowly, casting shadows across the cold halls. They entered a command room where several officers stood at attention. Status, Alara asked. Code Black is live, one officer replied. Satellite AI systems are online. Orbital defenses are now tracking all alien movements. Ghost fleets are holding position. General Knox looked at the giant screen in the center. It showed the galaxy-glowing red dots for every known alien fleet. Blue ones for Earth's hidden units. We didn't even use 10% of our strength in the Zarkon attack, he said. Alara nodded. Good, let's keep it that way. We only use what's needed. But the galaxy is watching, the general warned. They might see this as a threat. Alara's eyes narrowed. Then let them remember why peace lasted for 1,000 years. Years ago, after the last war, Earth's leaders agreed to the Great Truce. The galaxy was tired of destruction, but humans had seen something different. They knew peace was only temporary, so they made a plan in the dark corners of the Earth Alliance. Secret minds built Code Black, a set of protocols, weapons, and AI systems designed to activate only when Earth faced total threat. No one outside Earth knew it existed, not even most humans, in a deep vault on Mars. A young scientist named Dr. Talia Wells activated an old terminal. She had been studying Code Black for years, but even she didn't know all its layers. The system responded with a cold, digital voice. Welcome, Doctor, confirming identity. Code Black access granted. She stared at the screen as lines of old commands came to life. Defense plans, ship blueprints, psychological profiles of every alien species in the Union, all hidden for centuries. One line caught her eye. Protocol 0. Smile before strike. She frowned. Smile before strike. Is that the reason for the broadcast? The AI responded, yes. Phase 1. Psychological disruption. Enemy confusion rate, 89%. She leaned back, shocked. We didn't just attack. We played them. Meanwhile, far across space, on the Zarkon homeworld, the High Council was in chaos. Commander Zelter stood bruised, armor damaged. He had escaped the human ambush, but barely. They were invisible, he shouted. Their ships, ... they just appeared. No energy spikes, no warnings. The council was silent. Elder Varn stood and spoke with a calm voice. I warned you, humans did not forget war. They studied it. They learned to hide it. What now? A younger general asked. We must not fight again, Varn said, or next time they will not leave survivors. But it was already too late. In the outer galaxy, other species had started preparing for war, some afraid. Some angry, some curious. One thing was clear. Earth was not what it seemed. Back on Earth, a hidden training center deep below Mount Everest was active again. It hadn't opened in 300 years. It was called the Cora facility, where Earth's most dangerous warriors once trained. Now, lights flickered on, air systems hissed to life, and from stasis chambers, the first Echo soldiers awakened. Captain Juno, a tall woman with sharp eyes and a mechanical arm, stepped out of the chamber. Her heart rate remained calm, even as alarms flashed around her. She looked at the nearby officer and said, "What year is it?" 2489, the officer replied. Captain Juno nodded. "I've been asleep for 200 years. That means war has started again." Elsewhere in space, an alien ambassador from the Rithri species contacted Earth. The Rithri were once allies of humanities, smart, peaceful, and logical. The call was answered by an AI diplomat. "This is Earth Autonomous Response Unit. State your purpose." The alien looked nervous. "We wish to understand." "Why did you never show your power?" The AI answered coldly. "Peace is not the absence of strength. It is the control of it." The alien paused. "Are you planning to strike others?" "We strike only when forced," the AI replied, "but we do not forget." The message was broadcast to every major system. Earth was not looking for war, but it was ready. Meanwhile, Dr. Talia made a shocking discovery. She found files that were marked blackout. These were the most restricted codes when she opened one. A single video played. It showed Earth leaders hundreds of years ago discussing the Truce. President at the time, "Let them believe we are weak. Let them stop watching. In time, they will forget what we are." Another leader replied, "And when they return," the president smiled, "then we will remember." General Knox received a sudden alert. A strange signal was coming from beyond the galactic rim. It was faint, but it was human. Who could be out there? He asked. The signal was decoded. It was a distress call from a deep sleeper ship, a lost vessel sent centuries ago to explore beyond known space. The voice in the message said, "This is Commander Wren of the Vanguard Dawn. We have information," and it changes everything. President Elora listened to the transmission, then turned to Knox. "Wake up the diplomats. We need to talk to the Union. If the Vanguard Dawn found what I think they did, this war is only the beginning." But even as Earth moved carefully, small factions within the Zarkon Empire refused to stop. They believed humans must be punished. They began forming a shadow fleet, hidden ships, cloaked weapons, and mercenaries. One of them whispered, "If Earth smiles before it strikes, then we must strike before it smiles again." They planned something, big, something dark, but unknown to them. Earth was already watching. Code Black Phase 2 had already started in orbit around Saturn. A secret AI called Watcher 1 reported, "Zarkon rogue units detected. Preparing silent response fleet. Estimated time to engagement, 72 hours. The AI waited for orders. President Elara gave a simple command. "Don't strike yet. Let them show their hand. And when they do, we end this." The galaxy was waking up to a new truth. Humans were never gone. They were never weak. They had simply smiled and waited, and behind that smile was the forgotten human code, silent, sharp, and deadly. The war had just begun. Darkness covered the Zarkon system as 20 stealth warships prepared to launch. These weren't official Zarkon military ships. They belonged to a secret group, fanatics, who couldn't accept their defeat. They called themselves the Burning Claw. Their goal was clear: strike Earth before it could strike again. Commander Roel, leader of the Burning Claw, stood inside the bridge of his ship, the Shadowfang. He wore a black battlesuit with red glowing symbols. His eyes burned with hatred. "They hide behind smiles," he hissed, "but smiles break when blood spills. We strike first, and we strike hard." His second-in-command, Creel, looked uneasy. "Commander, Earth's technology enough," Raoul snapped. "They are shadows and tricks, nothing more. We burn their sky, and the galaxy will see they bleed like any other. Into hyperspace, destination, Earth, back on Earth." President Elara sat in her private chamber, watching the stars through reinforced glass. "Will they ever learn?" she whispered. A small light blinked on the table. A voice spoke, "Incoming threat detected. Cloaked fleet en route." ETA, 36 hours. She pressed a button. General Knox, activate Phase 3, Silent Defenders. High above Earth, thousands of tiny satellites blinked onto, small to be seen by most sensors, but each one deadly. These were Sentinels AI-controlled drones built for one purpose: to erase enemy fleets without a trace. On the moon, 2 orbital cannons locked onto the approaching coordinate, but they didn't fire. Not yet. Earth had learned patience. It had learned silence. They would let the enemy think they were invisible. Commander. Rawls' fleet exited hyperspace just beyond Pluto. All systems green, Creel reported. No human defenses detected. Raoul smiled. They truly are fools. The ships moved quietly toward Earth, passing through the edge of the solar system. Suddenly, one of the ships exploded. No sound, no warning, just gone. We're being watched, Creel shouted back. No weapons lock detected, no energy spikes. Just another ship vanished, then another. Panic spread, evasive maneuvers. Raoul screamed, "Find the enemy." But there was nothing to find. The sky was empty, or so they thought. High above them, the ghost fleet decloaked. Dozens of human ships, black as space, silently circled the enemy. No lights, no energy trails, just death waiting to fall. Admiral Lane, commander of the ghost fleet, watched silently from her ship, the Revenant. "They think they're the hunters," she said, "but they never saw the trap." She raised her hand. "Engage," in a flash. Beams of focused light shot from the ghost fleet. Not loud, not flashy, just surgical strikes. Within 7 minutes, 14 of the 20 Zarkon ships were gone. Commander Roal tried to retreat, but his engines failed. A human EMP torpedo had hit the core systems. He slammed his fist on the control panel. "Why? Why can't we touch them?" a voice echoed. Through his comscom, smooth and very human, "We let you come closer. We let you believe. And now, we let you learn." Then his ship went dark. Back on Earth, President Ilara watched the live feed with quiet focus. General Knox entered the room. "Clean sweep, no survivors." "Good," she said. "Broadcast nothing. Let them wonder what happened." "Madam President." "But the galaxy is starting to ask questions." She turned to face him. "Then let them ask. But we answer only with action." Far away, on the Galactic Union world of Polaris, 5 delegates from 30 species met an emergency session. Panic was rising. Ambassador Relin of the Vorthon stood up. "This cannot continue. Earth is not what it was. They are more advanced than we ever guessed." "They were always advanced," said an old voice from the back. It was Elder Varn, now acting as a neutral observer. "They simply chose not to show it. We mistook peace for weakness." Ambassador Telly from the Rithari looked pale. If they could wipe out the Zarkon fleet, ... And then this secret attack. What else are they hiding? No one answered, but the silence was loud. Meanwhile, in a lab on Earth, Dr. Talia Wells received a strange signal from deep space. It was from the lost human ship, Vanguard Dawn. She decoded the message. "We've found something. It sleeps under the surface of Dark Star 9, not made by humans, not by anyone we know. It's watching us." She stared at the words. Not human, not Zarkon, something else, something older. She ran to the secure comm line. "Get me President Elara, now there's something else in this war, something bigger." Back on the Shadowfang, Commander Raoul regained consciousness. His ship was drifting, power fading. He turned to the broken screen. A single human drone hovered outside the window. Silent, Raoul looked into its lens and whispered, "What are you?" The drone blinked once. Then it projected a message, a single human phrase, "We warned you." The drone fired, and Raul's ship became stardust. That night, across the galaxy, children of every species went to sleep with one thought: the humans smile before they strike. But when the smile fades, only silence remains. The stars above Earth seemed peaceful, but everyone knew something had changed. The galaxy was no longer quiet. After the secret Zarkon strike failed and vanished without a trace, rumors began spreading. Whispers of human ghosts, of weapons one could see Earth smiling before war. But now, something new had appeared, something not human, not Zarkon. It came from a place known only in old space records, Dark Star 9. In a secret Earth base under the Andes Mountains. Dr. Talia Wells rushed through the metal corridors, gripping a tablet in her hand. The signal she decoded from the Vanguard Dawn wasn't just a warning, it was a discovery. She entered the central command room. President Elara and General Knox were already there, waiting. Talia placed her tablet on the table. A hologram appeared, blurry, shaky video footage, a massive black sphere floating above the surface of a dead planet. "This is Dark Star 9, Talia said, breathless. "It's not natural. Not a planet, not a ship. It's something else." "What is it?" Knox asked. Talia hesitated. "I don't know, but it's waking up." Vanguard Dawn, the old sleeper ship, had sent a small crew to investigate the sphere. They landed near its surface, and what they found was terrifying. The structure was smooth and cold. No doors, no windows, no energy. But when the humans touched it, the sphere lit up with deep red lines like veins. Inside the command room of the Dawn, Commander Wren sent his final message. "This is Wren. We touched it." It responded, not with violence, but with awareness. "It sees us, it knows Earth, and I think it remembers." Then the message ended. No more signals, no more crew, only silence. Back on Earth, President Elara listened to the report with a serious face. "Do we send a rescue mission?" Knox asked. Talia thought for a moment. "No," she said. "We send something smarter." She looked at Talia. "Wake the Echo Unit." Echo Unit was Earth's most secret squad. Human, yes, but modified with neural tech, enhanced vision, emotion, suppression, and rapid learning systems. Trained not only for combat, but for unknown threats. Captain Juno, the same Echo soldier reawakened in Part 2, stood tall in the training hall. Her team of 6 soldiers stood beside her, silent. "Ready. You're not being sent to fight," Elara told them. "You're being sent to understand. But if you have to choose between silence or survival, choose survival." Juno nodded once. "Understood." In orbit, Earth's fastest stealth ship, the Obsidian Arc, launched from its dock. It carried Echo Unit straight toward Dark Star 9. It would take 3 days. 3 quiet, tense days. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, alien spies picked up pieces of the human conversation. A signal from a dead zone, a black star, a missing ship, and fear began to rise. On the planet Thorax-12, the Zarkon High Council held an emergency session. "This may be our chance," one elder said. "If humans are facing an unknown threat, they will be vulnerable." But Elder Varn stood again. "Or it means something far worse is coming, something even humans don't understand." The room fell silent. On the second day of travel, Captain Juno stood inside the Obsidian Arc's briefing room, reviewing ancient space maps. Her second-in-command, Sergeant Milo, asked, "Do you believe it's a weapon?" Juno shook her head. "Weapons don't sleep for thousands of years. They rust, they rot. But this thing, it waited." Milo looked uneasy. "Why do you think it knows Earth?" Juno stared at the red glowing symbol on the map. "Because we weren't the first." As the Ark entered orbit around Dark Star 9, the crew went silent. The sphere hung in space, black as death, with glowing red veins. It didn't spin, it didn't move, but it pulsed slow and steady like a heart. Juno's voice came through the comms. "Prepare for landing." The ship touched down gently on the cold surface. Immediately, the red lines lit up again, racing across the ground like lightning, and a door opened. Inside, the Echo Unit moved through a long black corridor. The walls seemed to absorb light. No sounds, no wind, just cold silence. Then words appeared on the walls, glowing red human letters. "We remember you." Milo froze. Did it just write in English?" "No," Juno said. "It didn't. Learn it's remembered." They moved deeper, reaching a massive chamber filled with floating lights. In the center was a tall, dark figure, humanoid, but clearly alien. It stood motionless, encased in glass. A voice, deep, not mechanical, echoed around them. "You are not the first, but you may be the last." Juno stepped forward. "What are you?" The voice replied, "I am the Warden. I guard what once was what should never be again. Your kind left this galaxy, but now you return. The war you bring is noise. The silence before it was mine." Talia's voice crackled in from Earth Command, listening from far away. "Juno, ask it what?" happened to the Vanguard Dawn? The warden answered before she could speak. They were warned. They did not listen. They saw the tomb and wanted answers. So the tomb gave them sleep. Suddenly, Milo screamed. He collapsed, shaking, his eyes turning black. Knelt beside him. What's happening? The warden spoke again. Your minds are open, your memories loud. You carry the anger of war, the greed of machines. That is why you are watched. Back on Earth, President Ilara stood from her chair. This warden, it's not a threat, it's a judge. Nox said, if it judges us guilty, then we must prove it wrong. The glass around the warden cracked. Juno raised her weapon. Are you attacking us? No, said the warden. I am joining you. With a flash of light, the warden disappeared and reappeared beside her, not hostile, but curious. It touched her armor gently. The fire in your people is dangerous, but your silence, that is something else. The galaxy fears your smile because they see what hides behind it. But I see further. I see a choice, Juno whispered. What choice? The warden turned toward the darkness of space. Something stirs. Older than me, older than you. It watches the war, and it waits. If the galaxy keeps fighting, it will wake, and no one will be left to smile again. The Echo Unit returned to Earth with the warden. They brought warnings, knowledge, and a secret history of the galaxy no one ever imagined. And for the first time in 1,000 years, Earth realized this wasn't just a war, it was the beginning of something far greater, something darker. And humanity's smile might not be enough. The world changed the moment the warden stepped onto Earth. It looked like a tall figure made of dark crystal and moving shadows. It had no face, no mouth, but it spoke clearly in every language at once. People didn't cheer. They didn't scream. They watched in silence, just like the warden did. In the Grand Hall of Earth Command, leaders from every nation, every station, and every orbital colony gathered to hear the warden's message. President Ilara sat in her chair at the center of the room, eyes focused. The warden stood before her, its voice echoing from nowhere. You think the galaxy is watching you, but something else is watching the galaxy. Before humans, before Zarkon, before the stars even had names. It was there. General Nox narrowed his eyes. What is it? It has no name, said the warden, but once your kind called it, the Devourer. Far beyond the edge of the galaxy, in the forgotten corners of dark space, a star flickered and died. Not from age, but from something pulling its energy out, draining it like a sponge, and in the void, a shape began to form. Black dot, colossal, dot silent. It didn't fly, it didn't burn, it simply existed, and everything near it, every signal and ship, simply disappeared. Back on Earth, Dr. Talia Wells stood beside the warden in the underground lab. She whispered, Why now? Why is it waking now? The warden touched a star map with a single glowing finger. Galaxies shifted, time reversed, and red dots appeared. Every great war, every scream, every weapon made to destroy instead of protect, feeds it. And now, with Earth rising and the Zarkon breaking peace, the noise has grown too loud. President Ilara clenched her fists. Can we stop it? No, the warden said, but you may delay it. And if you unite the galaxy not for war, but for silence, you may put it back to sleep. In deep space, the Galactic Union held its first emergency gathering in over 500 years. All species were invited, even enemies, even those who hadn't spoken in centuries. Ambassador Telly of the Rithari stood and pointed at the large hologram of Earth. They bring war, they hide weapons, they smile as they destroy. But then, a new figure entered the chamber. President Ilara. She walked alone, wearing no armor, carrying no guards. Just a clear voice. We smiled because we saw how blind the galaxy was. We acted because others struck first. But now, she paused. The room was dead silent. Now we are offering something else. She tapped her wrist. A projection appeared. Behind her, a giant black void spinning slowly in space. This is what's waking. Not Earth, not war, something far worse. Gasps filled the room. She continued, We don't ask for your trust. We ask for your silence. We ask for your unity, or none of us survive. Back on Earth, Echo Unit was preparing again. Captain Juno stood in front of her squad, watching new intel from the Vanguard Dawn's black box, recently recovered. Inside the ship's memory logs, something strange was seen. A planet burned black, a tower made from bones, and a creature taller than mountains, half machine, half shadow, standing still in the dark. It didn't move, but its eyes were open, Juno whispered. It's already looking. In orbit, Earth's AI Defense Network project, Halo picked up faint signals from Sector 9 Zeta. The region was supposed to be empty, but something enormous was pulling light itself toward it. General Knox ordered all human ships to full alert. He spoke into the command channel. If this is truly the Devourer, we don't need to win, we need to last. Elsewhere, far from Earth, the Zarkon Empire watched the transmissions in silence. Supreme Leader Kor stood in his dark palace. His advisors were frightened. One said, "Even humans fear this thing. Should we retreat?" Kor turned slowly. His voice was calm. "No, we don't run." He looked out the window into the stars. "We join them." And for the first time in 1,000 years, Earth and Zarkon sent messages to each other not as enemies, but as survivors. The message was simple: together or not at all. Echo Unit was sent again, this time to lead a mission deep into the ancient ruins found inside Dark Star 9. The Warden said a key was hidden there, relic from the first civilization, the only one that ever stood against the Devourer, and survived. Inside the ruins, the walls lit up with strange writing. Captain Juno and her team followed the markings. Milo pointed to a strange symbol. "Looks like Earth's DNA strand," he said. Juno looked closer. "It's not Earth's. It's older, but similar." Then the Warden's voice echoed again. "You were not born. You were shaped." Everyone froze. "What does that mean?" Juno demanded. "The ones before planted seeds. On Earth, on many worlds, you are the last of those seeds, and you may be the last chance." As they reached the chamber's core, they found a glowing object floating in mid-air. It pulsed with soft white light. Talia's voice came over the comms. The resonance core. If the legends are true, it can block the Devourer's senses." Juno reached for it as soon as her fingers touched it. A wave of memory hit her mind. Cities in the sky, creatures of pure energy, a war that destroyed galaxies, and the final stand of the first ones, using the resonance core to blind the Devourer. Just long enough to vanish, Juno fell to her knees, breathing hard. "It's not just a tool," she said. "It's a sacrifice." Back on Earth, Alara made a global announcement. "To the galaxy, we say this. The danger is real, and we have found a way to slow it. But we need help. Not ships, not weapons. We need voices. Every ship must go dark. Every planet must shut down all war tech. Every species must return to silence. Only together can we make the Devourer lose interest and fall back to sleep." Ships across the stars powered down, cities dimmed their lights. Weapons were locked away, and a strange silence fell across the galaxy. The stars burned, but without war, and far in the void, the Devourer paused. It had no thoughts, no feelings, only hunger. But now, the noise had stopped. And so, it stopped too, waiting, listening still. But it wasn't over Juno, Talia. And the Warden stood before the resonance core in a sealed vault on Earth. The Warden whispered, "You have delayed the end. Now, prepare for what comes next." The galaxy had gone quiet. No laser fire, no starship chases, no political threats, just silence. Planets dimmed their skies. Warships shut down their reactors. Satellites were switched off, and communication signals were reduced to whispers. For the first time in thousands of years, the stars stood still, and everyone waited to see if the ancient darkness, the Devourer, would go back to sleep. But silence had its own dangers. On Earth, in the underground chamber of the resonance core, President Alara stood with Captain Juno, General Knox, and Dr. Talia Wells. The Warden hovered nearby, still glowing with slow, calm light. "How long will this last?" Alara asked quietly. "Silence delays the end," the Warden said, "but it does not erase it." Juno frowned. "So we bought time, but not peace." The Warden nodded once. "Time is your weapon now. Use it." Wisely, in orbit, Earth's defense fleet floated in stillness. No active weapons, no engine trails, Just thousands of ships, silent, cold, watching. Admiral Reyes stared out from the bridge of the iron sky. "We've become ghosts," he said to his second in commandant. "No," she replied. "We've become listeners." But not everyone liked silence. On the Zarkon homeworld, whispers grew louder each day. Their war leaders, once powerful and respected, were now sidelined by peace talks. General Trask of the Zarkon War Circle slammed his fist on the table. "This silence is weakness. We are Zarkon. We were born in fire." Others around him nodded. Supreme Leader Kor, however, remained calm. He had changed. He had seen the Devourer's image, seen its endless black hunger, and it had shaken him. "We fight it, and we die," Kor said softly. "But if we vanish from its mind, we may live." Trask growled, "Or we grow weaker, and the humans rule us later." Kor looked into his eyes. "Then let us become strong." In silence, in a hidden lab on Mars, Dr. Talia worked on decoding the resonance core. It wasn't just a relic, it was a living memory of the galaxy's past, and within that memory were warnings. She read them aloud into her recorder. They tried to fight it, with suns, with armies, with thought itself. Nothing worked. But one thing slowed it: stillness. Harmony. Not peace through power, but peace through unity. She stared at the spinning core, and that may be harder than war. Meanwhile, Echo Unit was sent on a secret mission. Captain Juno and her team were assigned to visit the Kaleri Republic, a proud alien species known for advanced stealth tech. Rumors said Kalri had activated a secret weapon hidden inside a moon. Their starship arrived in dark space, using passive scanners only. Inside the moon, they found a massive cannon powered by artificial black holes. Milo whispered, "If they fire that, the Devourer will hear." Juno met with the Kaleri Prime Commander. "We ask you to shut this down," she said. The Kaleri Commander narrowed his eyes. "You ask us to sit in the dark, powerless, while humans lead the silence." "No," Juno replied. "We ask you to survive." There was a long pause. Then the Kaleri Commander turned away. "I will consider it." Back on Earth, people were changing to Dot. Schools taught quiet reflection instead of loud victory speeches. Artists painted space not as a battlefield, but as a garden. Children learned to watch the stars, not conquer them. Some called it the Age of Silence. Others called it cowardice in secret corners of Earth. A group called the Burned was forming. They believed humanity should not hide. "We are not sheep." One of them said in a dark broadcast, "We are wolves in the stars, and silence is slavery." President Ilara was briefed on the group. "Do they have weapons?" she asked. "Yes," General Knox said. "And worst, they have old war AI." Ilara looked tired. "Then we face two enemies, the Devourer and ourselves." 1 week later, a small satellite near the edge of known space went active. Just a whisper of energy, but enough. The Warden appeared before the Earth Council that night. "It is stirring again. One more voice, one more weapon, and it will open its eyes." Desperate, Ilara called a summit. Zarkon, Kalari Rithari, humans, even ancient races like the Ralvin and the Silent. Dren, the meeting was held on Unity, station floating between Earth and the Zarkon system. She stood before them all. "No more whispers. We must make a pact. One rule, one voice, one silence. Anyone who breaks the pact dooms us all." General Trask stood slowly, and who punishes those who disobey. Ilara didn't blink. "We all do." The pact was signed that day. The Silence Pact, a galaxy-wide agreement to reduce signals, shut down dangerous weapons, and monitor one another not for control, but for survival. A new group was formed. The Watchers, a mix of species trained to detect and stop any violation of the pact. Captain Juno was chosen as one of them. So was a Zarkon warrior named Threll. Enemies once, they now trained together. Juno stood with Threll on the bridge of their shared patrol ship. "We're keeping peace by spying," Threll muttered. Juno replied, "We're keeping peace by remembering what's waiting in the dark." They shared a long, silent look, then nodded. But peace is always temporary. One night, the Warden arrived again. Its glow was dimmer, its voice slower. "I am fading. My time is ending. You must carry the silence now," Talia gasped. Where? Are you going back to the dark, to sleep beside it, to keep it dreaming as long as I can? And then the warden vanished. A single spark floated where it stood, the last echo of the galaxy's oldest guardian. As news of the warden's disappearance spread, tension rose. Without its presence, fear returned. What if someone fired a weapon? What if the Kaleri activated their cannon? What if the Burned attacked? Juno Threll, and the Watchers flew faster, monitored harder, slept less. Every whisper could be the last dot in a secret chamber below Earth Command. President Alara recorded a final message. If you're hearing this, it means the silence has failed. I believed we could do it. I still believe, but if not, then fight. Not for victory, not for pride, but for every quiet star that dreamed of peace. And far away, beyond all galaxies, in the dark ... the Devourer stirred. Not fully, just a twitch, a flicker, a taste. But it was enough to remind the galaxy that silence is not just the absence of war, it is the sound of something greater. Watching, waiting. A single sound shattered the silence. Not a war cry, not a cannon blast, just a signal. It came from a small mining moon on the edge of Zarkon territory, a forgotten outpost, a broken satellite. A technician named Veeler had reactivated a communication, a ray, trying to send a message to his family. He didn't mean to break the silence pact, but he did. The signal pulsed across the stars. Soft, weak, almost nothing but far beyond the galaxies. Something moved. The void twitched. The Devourer stirred on Unity Station. The Watchers detected it immediately. An alarm blinked red on Juno's console. Unauthorized signal. Origin. Moon 9X. Zircon. Outer field. Threll snarled. Zircon territory again. Juno ignored the blame. Prepare for immediate jump. We need to shut it down fast. Threll slammed his fist into the navigation panel. We should burn that moon to ash. No, Juno said calmly. Not yet. We don't punish accidents. With extinction, back on Earth, President Ilara stood before the council. Dr. Talia's face appeared on the screen beside her. We felt it, like a ripple in a pond, she said. The warden's gone, but the core still feels the shift. General Knox looked grim. One signal, that's all it takes. Ilara whispered, then this isn't peace, it's a countdown. Old mining towers leaned like dead trees. The air was thin and cold. They found Veeler trembling near the control center, his hand raised in surrender. I didn't know, he begged. I was just trying to reach my daughter. Threll raised his weapon. Traitor. Fool, do you know what you've risked? But Juno stepped between them. Put the gun down. He broke the pact. He's not the enemy. Fear is. Juno looked into Veeler's terrified eyes. You just made the biggest mistake in history. But you're not evil, she turned to Threll. We need to shut the system and erase the data. If the Devourer heard it, we pray it forgets. The signal was wiped. The array destroyed. Valar was taken into custody, but it was too late. The core back on Mars spun faster. Dr. Talia placed her hand on it and whispered, it's listening again. Across the galaxy, reactions exploded. The Kaleri accused the Zarkon. The Zarkon blamed the humans. Old wounds reopened. Alliances shook. Rumors said 3 planets had secretly rearmed. A stealth fleet disappeared near the Dren border, and somewhere in deep space, a child drew strange shapes. In the sand, shapes that looked like eyes. In a hidden corner of Earth. The Burned resurfaced. Their leader, masked and nameless, appeared in a pirate broadcast. You see, the silence pact is useless. It's only a matter of time. So why wait? Let's strike first. Let the stars burn before we do. Their message spread like fire. On dusty worlds, angry voices cheered. On peaceful planets, fear returned. The darkness didn't need to wake. It just needed doubt. Ilara called another emergency. Council. The alien leaders gathered Sarkin, Kaleri, Rithari, and others. Voices shouted. Accusations flew. We must punish the violators. We must shut down all Zarkon colonies. The man confessed. He has a daughter. He didn't mean to wake death, but no one listened. Ilara stood up. We cannot afford blame. We need a signal stronger than fear. We need hope, Kaleri Prime scoffed. Hope won't save us. Maybe not, Ilara replied, but fear alone will kill us. Shift, but not total awakening. The core displayed a slow heartbeat, like a countdown. If we send no more signals, she said to her assistant, we may have weeks, maybe months. Her assistant asked quietly, and if someone else slips, Talia's eyes filled with dread. Then we have minutes. Back in space, Juno and Threll returned to their patrol. They visited the edges of Allied space, warning outposts, disabling abandoned transmitters, and teaching silence. At one outpost, they found a rogue scientist building a quantum beacon. Why? Juno asked him. Why risk everything? He looked at the stars. I don't believe the Devourer is evil. I think it's lonely. Threll shot the beacon before Juno could stop him. You want to comfort a cosmic monster? He growled. It doesn't need love. It needs to be left. Alone. But Juno's mind kept spinning. Lonely. That thought wouldn't go away. 1 week later. This is the last warning. Join a Sorfade with the silence. Admiral Reyes ordered every jammer activated. Earth's fleet scrambled. Juno flew toward the warship with a new team. The Burn fired once, just once toward a distant asteroid. Pulse. The core felt it, and the Devourer blinked on Mars. The core turned blood red. Talia screamed, "We're out of time." Alara received the message and stood on Earth's capital balcony, watching the sunrise. "We tried," she whispered. A child standing nearby asked, "Will the stars fall now?" Ilara didn't answer. Above Earth, strange clouds formed in orbit, not smoke, not gas. Shadows, a shape began to grow from nothing. A curve, an eye, a smile without kindness. The Devourer wasn't fully here, but it was close and hungry. In a final meeting, Juno proposed something wild. What if we don't fight it? Threll looked confused. Then what? We tell it a story. A story. Juno nodded. If it's listening, if it's lonely, we give it something else to hear. Considered this, Talia added. The core responds to emotion, not just signals. What if we broadcast peace? That night, across Earth, they created a new signal. A story of humanity, of war and mistakes and learning. Of the silence pact, of hope, children spoke. Elders sang. Artists painted live. Their work translated into data waves. The signal was sent. Not with power. But with heart. The core turned soft blue. The shape in the sky paused, rolled over like a beast going back to sleep. Ilara smiled for the first time in weeks. Juno sat beside Threll in orbit. Talia cried quietly in her lab and across the galaxy. A strange silence returned, but this time it wasn't fear, it was wonder. The silence after the Devourer's near awakening was strange. It felt like calm before a storm. But on the small desert planet of Varus 4, something unusual began to happen. Children played in the dust, their laughter light and free, but soon their games changed. They began drawing strange symbols on the ground symbols. No one recognized eyes, circles, lines that seemed to pulse with a hidden meaning. One child, little Lena, drew a large eye in the sand. She looked at it with wide, serious eyes. "This is watching us," she said quietly. Her mother frowned. "Watching who? Lena? The stars?" The girl said. "They see everything?" News of the drawings spread quickly. Scientists, linguists, and mystics came from nearby worlds to study them. Dr. Talia Wells was among the first. "These are not random," she told the Earth Council over a holiday. "They appear suddenly, and they grow." President Elara leaned forward. "Grow, yes," Talia said. "They change over time, as if alive." General Knox frowned like a warning or a message. Talia said softly. Meanwhile, Captain Juno and Threll arrived on Veris-4. They met with the local governor, a stern woman named Veris. "We've seen it too," Veris said. "The children don't stop drawing. It's like the dust itself moves beneath their hands." Juno knelt beside Lena, watching her draw another eye. "Why do you draw this?" Juno asked gently. Lena looked up, eyes shining. "To show the Watchers we see them too," Threll whispered. "Is this the Devourer?" Lena shook her head. "No, the Watchers are not monsters. They are old friends. They wait." That night, Juno and Threll sat by the fire, thinking. "Old friends," Threll said. "Sounds like a story to calm scared children." Juno was quiet. Maybe the Devourer isn't what we thought. At the Earth Command Center, Dr. Talia found an ancient record buried deep in the resonance core. It showed images of a race called the Virelians, tall beings with glowing eyes who once lived in harmony with the galaxy. They had created the core, and they had made a pact not just with other species, but with the Devourer itself. The record played a message. We are the Watchers, the keepers of balance. The Devourer is not destruction. It is transformation. Through silence, we all change. Fear the silence, not learn from it. Talia called Ilara. This changes everything, she said. The Devourer isn't an enemy. It's a force of nature. Like a storm or a tide. Ilara looked worried. So, what do we do? Fight a tide? No, Talia said. We listen. We learn. On Varus 4, children's drawings became clearer. They showed the story of the Virelians and the Devourer's cycle of endings and new beginnings. Governor Varus stood with Juno. If this is true, our war with the Devourer was pointless. It never wanted to destroy us. It wanted us to change, Threll growled softly. Change or die, that's a cruel teacher. Juno nodded, but better than death without meaning. Earth broadcasted the new understanding across the galaxy. Many were shocked. Some refused to believe. The burned grew louder, calling it weakness, but others listened. The silence pact shifted from fear to respect in a remote cave on Mars. Dr. Talia and her team uncovered a Virelian relic. It was a glowing orb that pulsed. With life, Talia reached out and touched it. Suddenly, images flooded her mind visions of stars dying, new worlds forming, life evolving. She gasped. The Devourer is the galaxy's way of renewing itself. On Unity Station, the council debated, can we trust this? Asked a Rithari ambassador. We must, said Alara, or we lose everything. Juno stood. We face a choice. Fight to the last star, or join the cycle and survive. Back on Varus 4, Lena drew her final symbolist circle of light surrounding the eye. She whispered, we are ready. As the galaxy watched and waited, a new peace began. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of understanding. The sky above Earth was clear, but beneath it, a storm was brewing. The galaxy held its breath. The ancient race, the Virelians, were coming back. No one knew when, no one knew how, but the signs were everywhere. On Varus 4, the children's drawings had stopped. Instead, strange lights appeared in the night sky, soft, glowing shapes that moved like whispers. Juno watched from her ship, the Resolute. Beside her, Threll's eyes narrowed as he scanned the horizon. They're close, Threll said. Closer than anyone thinks. Juno nodded. We must prepare. On Mars, Dr. Talia stood before the glowing orb they found. It pulsed with energy. Almost alive, her assistant, Malik, watched nervously. What does it mean? It means the Virelians left this as a message, Talia said. A warning? Or maybe a key? Suddenly, the orb shone brighter. A soft voice echoed in her mind. We are the keepers of balance. When the cycle turns, we return to guide. Fear not the Devourer. Fear the darkness within. Talia gasped and stepped back. They're coming, and they expect us to be ready. Across the galaxy, ships from many worlds stopped their fighting. Old enemies became uneasy allies. President Alara sent a message to all. The Virelians return. We must stand united. Our survival depends on trust, not war. The message spread quickly. Some species welcomed it. Others doubted the burned, angry, and restless, called it a lie. But the stars whispered a different story. On Unity Station, Juno met with the council. The alien leaders argued, we fought the Devourer for centuries. A Zarkon general roared, why should we trust its friends now? Ilara raised her hand. Because the alternative is extinction. The Virelians bring knowledge we need. We must listen, Juno added. I have seen the signs, the children's drawings, the orb's message. It's time to change. That night, the sky over Earth glowed. A fleet of ships appeared, shimmering like ghosts. The Virelians, tall, slender, with glowing eyes that shone like stars. Their leader stepped forward, a figure named Selen. He spoke in a voice that echoed, in minds, we return to fulfill the ancient pact. The Devourer is not our enemy. It is the galaxy's healer. But its power must be guided. We offer help if you will accept it. Ilara met Selen on Earth's surface. Why did you leave? US? She asked. Because balance requires distance, Selen replied. We watched, waiting for the galaxy to learn. Now, the silence breaks, and with it, danger grows. General Knox stepped forward. How do we know we can trust you? Selen's eyes glowed brighter. Because we bear the knowledge of survival. Because we have faced the Devourer and lived in the shadows, the burned prepared. Their leader spoke to his followers. They returned with promises. But we know the truth. The Varelians are the real threat. We will fight to keep our freedom. On Unity Station, Juno and Threll trained the new fleet. They learned Varelian, technology ships that moved faster than light, weapons that bent space, shields that healed themselves. Threll grunted. Powerful. But can we control it? Juno smiled. We have to. Meanwhile, Dr. Talia studied the orb again. She discovered hidden codes maps of the galaxies. Dangerous zones. These are the Devourer's scars, she told Ilara. Places where it has fed and changed worlds. Ilara nodded. If we can predict where it will strike next, we can prepare. One evening, a message came from deep space. A warning. The Devourer was stirring again. Selen turned to the council. It begins. The galaxy united as never before. Zarkon, Kaleri humans, and even the burned faced a new threat together. Juno led a fleet into the darkness. Following the maps from the orb, they found a dying star system, broken and scarred. The presence was strong. Threll growled. It's feeding. Juno steadied herself. We stop it, or we lose everything. In the heart of the system, they saw it. A shadow moving through Speza, great beast of dark energy. Shaping stars and planets, Selen called out. We must contain it. Use the ancient seals. Varelian ships moved in a circle, sending beams of light that wrapped around the Devourer. The beast struggled, roaring like thunder. Juno fired the new weapons, cutting through its dark tendrils. Slowly, the Devourer weakened. Back on Earth, Ilara watched the battle on the big screen. The child. From before, Lena stood beside her. Will it end? Lena asked softly. Ilara smiled. It has to. For all of us. After hours of struggle, the Devourer was sealed. The galaxy sighed in relief. Saelen turned to Ilara. The cycle continues, but now you are ready. Ilara nodded. We will stand together. Juno looked to the stars. Tomorrow, we rebuild. Threll grunted, and we watched the skies. The Varelians stayed, not as rulers, but as guardians. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity had found its place. Among the stars, the galaxy held its breath once more. The Devourer was sealed. But silence fell not, a calm peace, but a waiting, a quiet before a final storm. On Earth, President Ilara stood before the United Galactic Council. The Devourer's power is locked away, she said, her voice steady. But the silence is not safe. We must listen to the stars. Juno, now a hero to many, watched from the crowd. Beside her, Threll growled softly. What do you mean, listen? Asked a young delegate. Ilara smiled. The stars speak in their own way. We just need to learn to hear. Dr. Talia stood in her lab, her eyes on the glowing orb. It pulsed faintly, she whispered. The Devourer's silence is a signal, not an end. Suddenly, the orb flashed. Images flooded her mind. Visions of distant worlds, new stars being born, old ones dying. She gasped. The stars are alive. Across the galaxy, alien fleets watched the skies. The burned, defeated but not broken, lurked in shadows. Their leader sent a message. The Devourer was only the beginning. True power comes from the silence that follows. On Varys 4, Lena stood on a cliff, looking up. The dust swirled around her, carrying whispers. They are speaking, she said. The stars want us to act. Juno arrived, smiling. Learned much, but this is the real test. In the depths of space, the Varelians gathered. Saelen spoke softly to the council. The silence is the galaxy's heartbeat. If we do not listen, it will grow into a storm that destroys us all. Ilara called a meeting of all species. We must work together, not just to fight, but to understand. Juno stepped forward. We've faced destruction and survived. Now we must become the galaxy's guardians. Threll growled in agreement. Suddenly the orb glowed brighter than ever. Talia cried out, "The stars are warning us! A new force is coming! Not the Devourer, but something older, something hidden." In the dark corners of the galaxy, a shadow moved, a force older than the Devo. It whispered in silence, reaching for power. The burned rallied. Sensing an opportunity, Juno and Threll led a fleet into the unknown. We must find this new threat. Before it finds us, Juno said, the Varelians gave them ancient tools, weapons of light and sound. Juno smiled. Let's make the silence speak. The fleet entered a nebula, a swirling cloud of glowing dust and hidden dangers. Suddenly, silence fell completely. No sound, no signal, only darkness, only darkness. From the darkness, a voice spoke inside their minds. Who dares disturb the eternal silence? Juno stood firm. We are the guardians of life. The voice laughed, cold, empty. The fleet faced illusions and fears. Each ship saw visions, lost worlds, forgotten friends, endless darkness. Threll growled, breaking free. We are stronger than fear. Juno rallied the fleet. Hold the line, believe in each other. They reached the heart of the nebula there. A massive shadow moved the ancient force. It was not a beast, but a mind, a vast, cold intelligence. It spoke again. I am the silence, the end and the beginning. Juno's heart pounded. We are not afraid. A battle began, not with weapons, but with will and spirit. The silence tried to overwhelm them, to consume their minds, but the fleet fought back with light hope. And unity, the Varelian tools, pulsed with energy. Juno felt strength flow through her, slowly. The silence weakened. Its cold voice faded. We, will, wait, It whispered, the nebula brightened. The silence became a song. The fleet returned as heroes. The galaxy cheered. Alara spoke to all. We have faced the final silence and survived. Together, we will listen to the stars and protect our future. Juno looked at the night sky. The stars twinkled, alive and bright. Threll beside her said softly, "We are not alone." Lena's voice echoed from Earth. The Watchers see us, and we see them. The galaxy was quiet, but not empty. It was full of life, hope, and endless possibilities. The final silence was over. The stars were speaking. The end.